I made all 3 of those butterflies for less than the price of one, and I think everybody should know how. Hey people, welcome to my channel. My name is Larissa, and today I'm gonna show you how I made those butterflies. And you're gonna wanna watch until the end because I'm gonna show you the comparison between the Amazon one and the ones that I made. First things first, I drew the butterfly the way I wanted it to be, and then I put it on my computer and I scaled it down so I could have the same butterflies in 3 different sizes. Then I just had to print it out and tape it together to make the full-size butterfly. Now, since I'm a lovely person, if you agree to give me a like on this video and share it with someone who loves Christmas, I will agree to leave you with the PDF for those butterflies. It's a deal. Anyways, for this DIY, I'm using 14 gauge wire, and I'll leave the link for everything that I'm using down on the description. This wire is sturdy enough to keep the butterfly shape, but it's also malleable, whatever that word is, like you can shape it with your bare hands. Anyways, it's clearly easier to make this butterfly than to make this voiceover. Once I was done shaping the wire, I just twisted the end to make sure it wouldn't come undone. And I repeated that for all 6 wings. And here I could not believe it worked and that it was this easy. I had this trifold here, but you only really need a foam board. It's gonna be the same thing. This thing is just bigger and I didn't even use half of it. But I just scored stripes of 1/2 inch. At first, I was marking it with my pencil and then scoring it with my X-Acto knife. But then I realized that I could just go straight to scoring it with my X-Acto knife. So I did that. I've scored it. Didn't go all the way through. And then now I'm gonna cut it to make strips that I can fold. And just like she said, I started marking up about 1/2 inch strips and then cutting it with my X-Acto knife, but this time cutting all the way through. The thickness of those stripes is actually gonna be whatever thickness you use for your ribbons, because eventually you're gonna use that to cover the foam. Now what had happened was, for the smaller butterflies, that 1/2 inch space was a little too big because the foam wouldn't bend on the small grooves. So I went back on the strips and I just scored it a little more. And then I just hot glued the foam to the wire. Whenever I had a tight space like that, I would just break up the strip and then continue with another piece. And that would help the strip bend better over the wire. And then it was finally time to put the lights. Here is where we're gonna see if this thing is coming to life or not. I believe I ordered the 10-foot lights. I will leave them linked down below, but it already comes with a little sticky part on the back. However, to avoid having any inconvenience of this thing just, falling off, I also used hot glue, even though the back is pretty sticky. I used 1 strip for each wing, except for the small butterfly, which I used 1 strip for the whole butterfly. So I ordered a total of 5 light strips. And this part is pretty straightforward. I just glued it all along the interior of the butterfly, and then whenever I got to the end, I just cut it out on the line that comes on the lights. To make it a little more sturdy and help flatten it out, I added a few pieces of the same wire, just going from the interior of the wing to the outside of the wing. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's kind of like that skeleton, if you will. And then in my mind, it would make it more sturdy if I put a few on one side and the other few on the other side, so I did that. And then after that, I just added hot glue to the sides of the foam, and using a piece of the foam board, I just glued the fabric to it. Then I cut out the excess, and I did that to both sides of each wing. I used the tule fabric. It has a tiny little bit of shimmer to it. It's not glitter per se, but it is a little sparkly. So to go with that sparkle, I used this trim. It has a white sparkly effect, and all I did was put hot glue and place it over the hot glue. Here you could add a trim to the sides where you can see the light strip, but honestly, in my case, it doesn't really bother me, so I didn't add that. Then I placed both wings how I wanted them to be, and I came around with that same wire, just tightening it up to keep the wings the way I wanted. This part doesn't really need to be pretty because it's gonna be inside the tree, so you're not gonna be able to see. Now, if you wanted this to be pretty and all, you could use some pool noodle to hide anything that is not as pretty, and also to make the little body of the butterfly. In my case, I didn't do that because it's gonna be hidden anyways. Now listen, it's finally time to put the tree up, but at this point, I still didn't have the lights for the butterflies, so you're gonna see that the butterflies are naked on the tree, but I just wanted to see where they would stay so I could put all the ornaments while the lights arrived. In January, I got a bunch of burgundy ornaments on sale, 90% off. I got all the ones that the store had. You get your Christmas decoration in January before the next season, because then you get them 90% off and it's just so good. Besides those ornaments and some ornaments that I spray painted last year, I also made those gigantic ornaments out of balls. I just used the leftover fabric from my gigantic bow that I made last year, and I'll link the video for that bow in the description. But for this year, I went all around the butterflies, filling it all up with all the ornaments that I had. I started with the biggest ones and worked my way to the smaller ones. To make this process faster, I made clustered of 3 to 5 ornaments of the smaller ones using pipe cleaners, and with that same pipe cleaner, I would attach it to the tree. For the top of the tree, I repeated the same top that I used last year because I thought it would work perfectly since it was also red. The only difference is that I did not add my star full of lights. I don't know what that's called. It's like a bursting star kind of topping, which is not even a tree topper. It's actually a hanging bursting star, but I use it as a tree topper. But I didn't use that because I thought it might be too many lights with all those butterflies and everything. As you can see, I just shoved the butterflies onto the tree. I just made sure to hide the cable inside the tree. Now let's see the real difference between the Amazon one and the ones I made. I don't know about you, but here are my thoughts. I feel like those are warmer, definitely. I like that more. This one I feel like it's too bright. I like how it looks, but I think it's too bright. That entrance sweeping over the screen, it got hot. But if you did learn something in this video, please share, comment, like, all those things so that you can help my channel grow and I can do more things like this. Because I just get so excited when a video does well and I just, the creative flows comes. Oh, I know the validation issue that we need, but I showed you all of it. So you can just maybe give it a like. See you on the next one.